Hello, everybody. I am very excited to talk with my friend Bill Keller with the Desrochers Group today. Hi, Bill.
Hey, how's it going, Aaron?
It's great. How are you today?
Really good, thanks. Yeah, it's a little gloomy. A little bit of rain has come in the last few days, but all in all, spirits are high. We needed the rain anyway, so it's good.
I agree. I don't love it being gray, but I'm very happy for what it's doing for the earth.
For sure.
Yeah, so the spring market is in full swing. Here we are at the end of April 2024, and we're starting to see a lot more activity, which is normal in Minnesota at this time of year. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was specifically buying a home in an association.
Hmm.
So maybe before we dive into some of the nuts and bolts of that, let's just make sure everybody knows what is an association.
Yeah, so an association is, you have a collection of homeowners that are basically sometimes under one roof, sometimes under multiple roofs, and you have a company that basically watches all the purse strings and takes care of the common areas where people may roam around, like say a pool or just meeting rooms and different things that they may have. And then there's other parts of different things that they cover as well sometimes. And so yeah, associations are they can be good and things to be watched.
Well, and I think that a lot of people don't realize that you can have a homeowners association in a single family neighborhood where everybody's home is separate, just as much as you can have an association with a condo or a townhome. Most people think of it just for a condo or a townhome, but they exist in single family neighborhoods also, right?
Yeah, very true. And sometimes you'll see that monument signs when you first pull into a neighborhood with pretty flowers or a fountain. All of that takes maintenance and repair over time, and there can be some annual fees or something to that nature in those types of neighborhoods. Absolutely.
Right. Well, and in most of the single family, not all, but most of the single family neighborhood, the association fees are annual and most of them are pretty minimal. But
Yeah.
when we're talking about townhomes or condos, we're talking about a regular monthly association fee, right?
Yes, absolutely. And there's various things that are included in those numbers sometimes. I've seen um, garbage and or sanitation and water bills. I've seen heat. I've seen um, insurance and a few other things in there. So it's very, very important when those condo documents or those HOA documents come to you to spend the time to really look through them. And if you do need assistance, please have somebody look at those that are very familiar with them or an attorney just to make sure that you fully understand what the association is responsible for and what would you be responsible for once you get there.
Right. Well, and on the lending side, we see this a lot too, is that, with townhome and condo associations, many times, most of the time, the association's covering exterior insurance because it's kind of common. Everybody has shared walls and there needs to be an overarching insurance policy. But then you do still have to buy insurance for yourself most of the time on the interior of the unit. Um,
Correct.
and a lot of times too, there are some associations where they maybe have a really cool exercise room and they have more expensive dues because of it. But if you're buying in some place that has a really cool exercise room, maybe you don't need your fitness membership anymore, right?
Yes, that would be correct. I've even seen some of the associations covering things like cable TV. Now, it's great once you bundle it up. It's awesome for being able to budget your money and to understand what you'd be spending monthly. But if you don't watch cable, it
Right.
might not be such a great idea.
Right. Well, and that's and you hit on a high point really is that there's benefits and detriments or pros and cons to buying in an association.
Correct.
Because they can control what you can do with your property, right? Like let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, the biggest thing is, I mean, they can decide, if you can have, one pet or three pets. They can make decisions about if you can put posters off of your deck that are facing outward, and on and on. So they can control colors and different things that you may not be aware of when you first purchase into the association. But so reading those documents and fully understanding them, going through the declarations and the covenants and restrictions are very important.
Yeah, because if you're somebody who wants to paint your house purple with green polka dots, you want to make sure the association doesn't stop you from doing
That could be an issue. I've heard that's an issue. Yeah.
that. But there are also some benefits, right, of being in an association. And what are those?
Well, I think a lot of people just need to think about their single family home where they're already paying a homeowner's insurance policy. They're paying their water bill and their sanitation bill. And if you start to add all those up and divide them by 12, you have a form of an association, so to speak, in your own single family home.
Mhm.
So I like the fact that associations are, you can budget well with them. You can understand what the numbers are going to be coming out on a monthly basis. And people are sharing in that insurance cost, which is nice. So if that policy then is being shared by everyone in there, depending on usually unit size or things of that nature. But for budgeting purposes, HOAs can be a very good thing. Also, if you're a traveler, you work on the road quite a bit, having someone taking care of the lawn and snow removal in the winter is a huge plus for a lot of people.
Right. And it's so, there's both good and bad things about associations. It's not that they're bad, it's not that they're good. It depends on the person to determine if they're right for them. But, what would you say is the most important thing when you're buying in an association that you need to be aware of or pay attention to?
Well, I do, I've seen this happen in 3 out of 4 of my last association purchase agreements, and here it is. You have to pay attention to those papers when they come to you. You need to read through those budgets and understand there are people that do control those purse strings. And if you are not going to the meetings or that you are unaware, you have people that are choosing how you are going to spend your money. And
Mhm.
it's important when you're looking at an association, if you're going to buy a townhome, when were the last time that the major projects are done? Boilers, roofs. By the time you look at some of those, I've seen roofs go for $250,000 to $500,000. And that money all has to be divided amongst all the people that are living there if they do not have the reserves. Now, many of them are very responsible and they do have reserves, but you understanding how much they have in reserves and when they did those projects is a very important thing that you need to be checking out. So pay attention to the budgets.
Yes, very much so. I know some people who bought in an association and they weren't there for 6 months before they found out that they had to have all new siding and the association didn't have enough money to cover it. So really, really important.
Yes, very much so.
And homeowners can become part of the association board or they can go to the meetings. So it's just important to make sure you're reading the communications and going to meetings if you have the ability to do that.
I would agree, be represented. I mean, if there was something, if you were thinking of your single family home, if something was about to happen to your single family home, I'm assuming that you would be there for that meeting and you should do the same thing in a townhome.
100%.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of knowledge about associations, and I'm so glad that you guide your clients to really pay attention to those association documents because that's the key to buying successfully into an association. If people want to get a hold of you to chat with you about possibly buying an association, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Aaron. You can give me a call. Call me at 952-240-4114. And we could chat anytime. You can text me, we can set up a call, and we can go through this type of information one-on-one and make sure that you fully understand. Buying townhomes is an easy way to get into the housing market and begin building equity. And that is a reason why a lot of people are looking at those. They're usually less expensive. And there's more people to share the expenses of fixing something or taking care of all of that property. But so getting into the housing market is way more important than paying, the mortgage of somebody that owns a large rental building. So please contact me. Let's talk about associations and neighborhoods and how it all works together. 952-240-4114. Thanks, Aaron.
Awesome. Thank you.